Here we go, here we go. This is an interesting team here. We're featuring a GBL video with Emogla. It can learn the new move Acrobatics. This thing is very fast charging. Thundershock generates energy really quickly here, repairing it with the Swampert and the Registeel. So let's check it out here in action. First we have the Emogla versus a Shadow Dragonite here. We get the discharge first. We fire it off because it's Shadow. They potentially could be shielding here, and they end up shielding, so that's really good for us. They're staying in, so we're just gonna shield this because it sounds and it feels like we are able to get to the next discharge before they do. Okay, they decided to switch out. We decide to bank a discharge for when the Dragonite potentially comes back. And here, it did look like it was running Spark version, right? So this Lantern's running Spark. We're resisting all of it right there. And we just decided to go for the Earthquake. Basically because we think they're not going to shield because they have this Shadow Dragonite still. That is pretty good against the Swampert. So we guessed correctly there. We try to get to a Hydro here to do chip damage. They decide to throw a Dragon Claw immediately right before we get to that move. So pretty standard plays right now. Because the switch timer potentially could be coming up here, I decided to wait out the clock. Okay, it was not fast enough. We just checked the switch timer was not even around, so we decided to just wait for our own, and we decided to go discharge here to force out the last shield. We switch out as soon as we can, and here we just are guessing if this is a superpower or not. Because they're most likely going to superpower and dip, we decide to shield here. Huge shield. That Shadow superpower would have been nasty. Because they debuffed themselves, we decide to go for just a Focus Blast. This is a resistant move, but because they're relatively low and they debuffed themselves, we decided to send out the Focus Blast. Unfortunately for us, they had the Steel type. Okay, they have the Steel type. Yeah, it's not gonna take it out. It's still gonna have tons of help. We forced them to use Earthquake. So this has to be Earthquake, which it is. It takes us out, and unfortunately, we just don't have enough energy to take out that Galarian Stunfisk right there. So starting off with a little bit of a loss there, but I like how the Emogla can get to these moves relatively pretty quickly. Just unfortunate that the Galarian Stunfisk was met with the Registeel. In hindsight, maybe the Registeel versus the Lantern would have been better, but okay. And we got the immediate switch out. We saw a Galarian Zapdos. I've been seeing more of those popping up in GBL. I like the Spice pick. Unfortunately for them, the Emogla counters their Galarian Zapdos. Lucky for them, they actually caught one. I don't even have one to use. So here we're trying to throw optimal timing. We had them use one fast move, and then we threw a move for the most optimal timing. And here we're just trying to farm up a lot of energy. We're basically at 100. So we throw another Hydro Cannon here. The Hydro Cannon should be able to take it out. They should be letting it go because I had two. So good play by them. And this Galarian Zapdos, unfortunately, is going to be met with a ton of Hydro Cannons coming in. They decide to shield, but look at us. We just get to another move so quickly here, and that's why we overfarmed versus that Bastiodon. So wow, this Swampert took out the Bastiodon, forced out two shields, okay? And we were still able to leave the match with a little bit of health, potential third shield. And then they immediately switch out of that bad situation, and unfortunately for them, they're ABA weak to electric. And because we saved this Emolga, we should be able to take out this Skarmory and that Galarian Zapdos pretty easily. I'm trying to just farm a bunch here. I'm getting to 2 discharge. All we have to do is just throw 2 discharge here, and this is GG's. Oh, I just realized I typed in the wrong spot. My bad. Okay, let me fix that. So we're soon gonna be 1-1 with the Emogla, and we just took advantage of the situation. We kind of hard countered their switching, and that's always a tough situation to be in. And our opponent GG'd. So Emogla, pretty good against the Flyers, obviously. Pretty good against the Fighters. Let's see if we run into a tough situation. Are we ever gonna run into a situation where we can come back from like a bad lead or something? Emogla, you do gotta watch out for like Swamperts. Maybe even ground type. No, not necessarily ground types, like electric type as well. That's why we have the Swampert. Here we're kind of in a sticky situation. We can't really switch because the Swampert is weak to the Altaria, and the Registeel is a counter to it, but if we switch into our Registeel, they'll probably switch into their counter as well. So we decided to stick it out. We'll be happy with all of this chip damage. Sky attacks, we resist. So we're hoping we survive this sky attack, and then we can just throw another discharge. And lucky enough, we do. Emogla, we actually had to make it to level 40. It was actually pretty tanky. You could have got, ideally you want level 41 as a technical XL, but I think that we just got it to level 40, which is pretty tanky. And then here we're coming with our Registeel, like I just said, and looks like they're gonna allow us to farm it down. This is risky unless they have a hard counter to the Registeel here. But Registeel with energy is really scary for anything. So I don't know what they have in the back here. Oh, so they do have this Scrafty, but because they allowed us to farm, they allowed us to farm so much. We were already out of focus blast. This forces a shield. We immediately switch because we want the shield advantage with whatever they have in the back. And now we just gotta see if we can take this out with correct shielding. This is all about shielding the correct stuff. First, charge move, we did not shield the foul play. Or we did not shield the power up, which is the correct move to not shield. So we made the first correct decision. We forced them to use their second shield. We baited like we had Earthquake. Now we shield. Even if this is power up punch, we should be able to get to another charge move here, potentially 2, depending on. Okay, they decided to switch out, and now they're just gonna give us a ton of farm. I don't know. They should have just tried to farm us down at that point. I don't think Earthquake would have taken out that Scrafty, to be honest. So here we have a decision to make. We shield here to potentially farm it down and then throw like 2 hydro cannons, or do we let it go and farm with the Reggie? I don't think either decision is that bad, because we should be able to get to at least one big charge move here. And remember, the Scrafty exited, so it basically reset all of his buffs, and they do farm us down. We could have got to 2 hydros there. I don't think 2 hydros would have taken it out still. I don't think. So we forced them to use energy here because this Registeel is still alive, and we lock on down for the win. So we played that backline, that end game, pretty ideal. We had the 2 shields. We did not shield the potential foul play. We actually called their power up punch, and that is what led us to win, because the Altaria would have been a problem for us in the back. So GG's right there. We just made some good calls. 2 shields in the back, just making the right calls, ended up being the right thing to do. All right, let's see how well this team can run. I like the team. Of course, there's weaknesses. Here we resist the counters coming in, but we do have to watch out for Rock Slide, Thunderbolt, even the Psycho Boost would be interesting because they could always Psycho Boost and dip. So we do anticipate a Psycho Boost and dip here, which is exactly what happened, and we decide to shield that first one because we have a great matchup to it, and the Psycho Boost would do a fair amount of damage. They decided to shield coming in with their Sableye here. So we throw the Acrobatics to either do some big chip damage or get a shield, which is what happened. So 1 shield versus the Sableye. The Sableye, it is a good generalist for our team. We do have to throw this Zap Cannon. Let's see if they end up shielding. They don't shield, and we get the debuff. So this is going to allow us to get to another charge move, I believe. We don't have to shield this one. Let's see how much health we have left with this debuffed foul play. So that debuffed foul play was huge, which helped us not have to shield, and potentially could help us get to another move, which they are not going to allow us to do. So they win back switch. So good for them. I think we decided to go with the Emogla here. Yeah, we go for the Emogla. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, we just clip them. I think they were at the move. We just perfectly farmed down a Sableye. And now this Emogla has a ton of energy. We know that they threw a Psycho Boost, so we can farm out just a little bit. We go for the Acrobatics here. Could potentially do huge damage. Remember, this is the new move that I know. Huge damage. Over, I don't know, 50, 60%. This could be a Psycho Boost and dip situation again. It's probably going to be the Psycho Boost. All right, we called it. That's fine. We decide to save the shield. They go back with another Ghost. So they had the Defense Deoxys double Ghost strategy here. I think this Hydro Cannon is going to get shielded, which indeed it does. This Cofagrigus is going to be having to deal with this spammy Swampert. So we did get the shield out of the way, so they have no more shields, and we're basically going to force them to use some energy here. Okay, good counting by my opponent to throw the move right before we go for the Hydro. I decide to shield this up because I'm so close to Hydro, and it ended up being it looked like CMP right there, to be honest. We had the Hydro coming in. We knew that we win CMP, so we decided to shield it. We go back in with the Emogla immediately. We don't want any of this extra farm. We get to the discharge very quickly here. And is it enough? Boom! Just enough to take down that team there. That was a tougher team, okay? Defense Deoxys, double Ghost. We didn't really have an answer for that Sableye, but by committee, we were able to take it down. So we were able to win CMP versus their backline with that Swampert. That Swampert plus the Emogla combination, pretty important with that Acrobatics doing some huge chip damage. All right, back in with another one here. We have the Marowak. This Marowak, unfortunately, is a hard counter to the Reggie. So we're kind of ABA to this Marowak. Potentially could have Shadow Bone, Shadow Ball. We decide to shield it, and we do call it correctly. They get the debuff on us, so these hexes are going to do that much more damage to us. Let's see if they end up shielding here, because this is a Shadow one, right? Oh no, no Shadow. Is it? No, I don't think it's Shadow. So we decided to throw a bait there. They decide to shield. Then we go for the Acrobatics, because they're probably not going to double shield, right? They don't double shield. And we have a decision to make. Are we going to let this go? Because we are debuffed. So we end up shielding, because we think we can farm this down. I think that's the idea here. We get double debuffed, but we are able to farm it down. So we're looking for an opportunity to switch out. Indeed, we have to switch out. We have 2 counters to that Bastiodon, so we immediately switch out to the Swampert. They counter swap into their Medicham. And because we got a little bit of a head start on energy, we decided that we're just going to go for a bunch of Hydro Cannons, because they still have a shield, and eventually they have to shield because they don't want to see the Swampert versus the Bastiodon. So we anticipated that we'd eventually get the shield if we go for 2 Hydros, which indeed is what happened. And this could potentially be a Psychic. It is a Psychic, barely doesn't take us out, so they get the extra counter there. So we know they have 1 counter, and we know the Emogla has a little bit of energy. Do we dare go into the Emogla, or do we go for the Reggie? We go for the Emogla. We had a discharge already set up, so is this gonna take us? Is this gonna take it out? Almost. 2 counters, so they immediately switch out because they know they can't beat us back there. And this is a hard counter right here. This is gonna be GG's. This Focus Blast is gonna be able to take it pretty close to KO, if not KO, and then all we have to do is just do 1 fast move from either Reggie Steel or the Emogla to take down that Medicham. That Medicham is really low, so we go for the Focus Blast here, and let's see if this is gonna be enough. Here we boom, easy win here, and then we do the 2 lock-ons, so maybe 2 moves, 2 fast moves from Registeel. So let us know about this team, Emogla with Thundershock and Aerobatics and Discharge.